Good evening, everyone. We are doing this live on multiple platforms. This is the first time that I'm trying it out, and I'm sure it's going to work well. So, can you mention in the chat box who are all there? Let me see if I can check it out. So, who are all there in this live session? If you can mention in the chat box. So, today's theme that I picked up to talk about is your habits, your life. A very important subject to design our lives, to give a shape to our lives, to perhaps bring a new direction in our lives. That's why it's very, very important to examine this subject, and everyone has some issue to resolve in terms of their habits. And when I'm saying everyone, I'm talking in general, a huge population is dealing with, is grappling with this subject of their habits. The other day, I interacted with corporate professionals. In fact, in one of my posts, I had mentioned that one day I was interacting with corporate professionals, another day I was interacting with college going students, and then on another day, I was interacting with school children. And issues emerged to be the same, they related to their habits. Someone is asking, how do I get rid of my laziness? Someone is asking, how do I stop postponing things? Someone is asking, how do I become more confident in myself? And so on and so forth. And these issues emerged from my interaction with different spectrums of population, different spectrum of audience. And that is why it's very important to pay attention to our habits. Now, the question is, why is it that we have habits at all? That is the prime question that we need to ask ourselves. So the first thing that is important to understand is that our habits are there to actually simplify our lives. Examine how you emerged right from your child, how you evolved, how you grew up right from your childhood. What all happened? You are learning things by doing them again and again, whether it is about learning to walk, whether it is learning to ride a bicycle, whether it is about academics, ABC, Kakhaga, language, maths, anything. You did it by repetition, and now you may be performing many of those things without blinking your eye. For example, it is said that once you have learned driving, you can drive for all times to come. You don't have to learn it again. Many such things are part of your life which are making your life simple. I always raise this point whenever we interact in terms of simplifying our life. I raise this point. Imagine a scenario that every morning when you get up, you have to learn afresh. Forget about immediately after getting up, but let's say you have to learn to brush your teeth every single day because you don't know how to do it. Imagine what would happen to the quality of your life, or what would you accomplish during the day? Perhaps nothing. Every morning you will be back to square one, isn't it? That is why it is important to understand that our habits are formed to simplify our lives. Many of the functions which need to be done again and again, the brain establishes connections so that we don't go into understanding how it has to be done, right? So that is why habits are formed. But what happens when we grow up, when we have learned most of the things which drive our life? What happens after that? That is when our habits play even more important role, either positively or negatively. So I've got a hello from Rohit from YouTube. So Rohit, welcome to this session, and happy to have you here. And let us see who all are there in different platforms. I see that there are a couple of people on YouTube, there are a couple of people on Facebook, and I'm sure there will be others joining on other platforms. The idea is to start doing it regularly. So habit formation, right? So idea is to form a habit to do these live sessions repetitively so that we can reach out to larger audience and save a lot of time. When we are doing it on multiple platforms, obviously we are saving a lot of time. So now coming back to the second part that I was touching upon, the second part was what happens when we have grown up and we have learned most of the things which drive our life, whether it is eating our food, how to write things, and how to take care of our hygiene, and so on and so forth. What happens after that? That is when one thing starts becoming available to us, and that is time. Now, uh, time is a unidirectional resource. It goes only in one direction, specifically in terms of what is available to us. But when we talk about time psychologically, it has a different dimension. We can go to the past, we can go to the future. But in terms of helping our lives or shaping our lives, it goes only in one direction, it goes only forward. And the only moment, as they always say, is this moment is the only moment you have. Now, the question that comes is when the time is available, it is by default to be consumed by something. I always say that there is no situation like doing nothing. We are always doing something. Even when you are sleeping, that is an action. Even when you are just being with yourself, that's an action. Even when you are doing nothing and you are getting bored, even then you are doing something. Right? So that is the time that starts getting consumed in some activity. And when that activity becomes repetitive in nature, notice what I'm saying, notice what I'm emphasizing. When that activity becomes repetitive in nature, that is when habit starts getting formed. And don't be surprised if 1 month later, 3 months later, 1 year later, you say to yourself, oh my God, I don't know how this habit got formed. And now I'm grappling with getting rid of this, whether it is procrastination, laziness, or being untidy, being disorganized, being an unplanned person, or look at some of the positive things that you may have started putting into place. So understand this, that our habits are formed first to simplify our life, and second, then they start consuming our time if we are not aware of them, and they start becoming counterproductive. Now, in the time that you have available to you, you can do things which help you to relax, which help you to rejuvenate, which help you to learn things, which help you to connect with your family, which helps you to connect with your hobbies and so on. Or you can use the same time in doing things which don't really add value. And what do I mean by don't add value? When you do anything which is kind of being overdone, obviously it doesn't add value. For example, when you are watching news on TV for an extended period of time, let's say you start at 7 in the evening and you continue to watch news, maybe on different channels for 3 hours at a stretch, I would like to ask you, check with yourself, what is the value it is adding? Let us say you're watching something on Netflix, something on Amazon Prime, or any other platform for extended period of time, 3 hours, 4 hours, every single day. If you're doing it once in a while, perhaps it's not habit formation. That is being aware of it, that is being conscious of it. But when you are doing it again and again every single day, then obviously your habit is getting formed. And that is what you need to start becoming alert to. Now, what happens with these habits, that once they are formed, they are obviously going to have their own consequence. And what kind of consequences your habits can have on you? They can have a consequence in terms of your physical health. They can have a consequence in terms of your mental peace. And they can also have a consequence in terms of how emotionally balanced a person you are. And that is why it's important to understand what is it that you are doing in the time which is available to you, and more so repetitively. Now, let us look at another dimension of what I'm talking about right now, and that is your habits are reflected in terms of your actions, which are obviously very visible to perhaps everyone. But at the same time, your habits also reflect in terms of your thinking patterns, what you continue to think again and again, repetitively about life situations. And that becomes your thinking habits. They are not visible to the world, they are only known to you. Another dimension of your habits is your emotional habits. Let us say if a situation comes in front of you, you feel a certain feeling. Let's say B. If A situation happens, you are likely to feel B. And if you do that again and again without being aware, remaining unconscious to that, obviously, again, it starts becoming a habit. And again, don't be surprised when some similar situations emerge in front of you, you're likely to feel the same way. And it is very important to break these patterns in terms of your actions, in terms of your thinking, and in terms of your feelings, because if you are not aware of them, if they are not supporting your life, obviously they are consuming your time as well as energy. Now, let's have another look at it. Another look at it is how your habits either support you or how your habits cost you. Your habits support you when they contribute to you being physically healthy. Your habits support you when they keep you mentally peaceful, mentally calm, and alert. They support you when they help you to experience those feelings and emotions which help you to sense the energy of life. This is how your habits help and support you. But at the same time, when you are not aware as to what your habits are doing to you, they demonstrate their consequences negatively on all these aspects which I've just mentioned: your health, your mental peace, your emotional health. And not only that, they also reflect in terms of your relations. Have you experienced, either in your own life or in the life of people around you, that relations start drifting apart just because some habits are not in place of either of the parties, either of the people involved in that relation? So that is why it's very important to understand that our consequences or our life experiences are nothing else but a manifestation of what we demonstrate in terms of our day to day actions, which I am also talking about in terms of our habits. Now, let us ask ourselves, how do we start breaking these patterns? It is a mantra that I practice in my life. It is a mantra that I recommend in my conversation with different set of audiences. And this is a mantra which I always suggest as the foundation of leadership growth. And that is self-awareness. You need to start becoming more and more aware of what is happening in your life. And are you okay with those life experiences? Are you okay with those consequences that you are experiencing? And if you say yes, you are okay with them, I will make an assumption that your habits are in place and you are doing many, many right things in your life. However, if you are not very happy about your life experiences and you want to bring a change in them, again, whether it is in terms of your material abundance, whether it is in terms of relations, abundance in your relations, or it is in terms of your relation with yourself, that is when you need to start paying attention to what is happening in terms of the time which is available to you: morning, afternoon, evening. uh, and specifically, I'll always say you need to start paying attention to your personal time. I call it personal time: before you start your work and after you finish your work. That is what I label as your personal time. And the more you become aware of how you are consuming your personal time, the more you'll be able to make a meaning out of it and make a difference to yourself. So start investing some time I'm not using the word spending some time. I'm using the word start investing some time with yourself so that you can have a conversation, you can reflect as to what all is happening in your life. You can start checking what are the things which are working in your life and what are the things that need a little change. That is the fundamental principle. Second important thing that perhaps you will need to put into practice is okay, before I move ahead to the next point, I would like to mention that you can start asking questions. I'll start taking them up after I finish my deliberation. So there are some thoughts which have started coming in the comments box here, but I'll start taking them up after I share a couple of more ideas with you. Second important thing that I was about to mention is that you need to start becoming consistent. Now, consistency by itself is a habit. And I always take pride now in saying that I finished posting one video every day on my YouTube channel for one full year. And how did I develop that? Because it was possible only with consistency. Was it easy? Not at all. One full year, every single day, posting a video. Not so easy. And much of the things, in fact, most of the things were being done by me and my wife. Whether it is shooting, whether it is editing, whether it is creating content, then further uploading, everything was being taken care of by us. But the point is, how is it possible? Because it was a decision which was made, and I wanted to honor that decision. And when I realized that I can become consistent in one area of life, I also realized, and that's the message that I'm giving to you, if you can become consistent in one area of your life, you can become consistent in every area of your life. I'm repeating what I've said. If you can become consistent in one area of your life, you can become consistent in every area of your life. And that is why you must pay attention to what all is happening in your life. And that is why you need to start becoming consistent. And one of the easiest way to become consistent is promise yourself something very little that you'll do. Very little that you'll do, which you know that you can honor. Classic example that we can take is there are many of us who promise to ourselves close to arrival of New Year, close to arrival of New Year, that this year I'm going to make this change in my life. And how long does it last? We all know what is the fate of those New Year resolutions that we make, because we make tall claims to ourselves. And perhaps many times, even while making that promise to oneself, we know deep down it's not going to happen because it has not been experienced by us so far. So, what I always recommend, one of the philosophies that I practice and I encourage others to practice is start with tiny habits, something very small that you know can be done very easily. And then you can create a tabular form and mark on that table every single day, whether you are following it or not. Even if you have not done it on certain days, that's perfectly fine. What is important is to monitor and review. That is when you will start understanding how do you strengthen whenever you have a tendency to miss out. For example, let's say, let me give you an example of this. Let's say uh, you become excited listening to one of my talks that yes, every day you must work out for one full hour. You must give yourself one full hour every single day to take good care of yourself. Let us say that you make that promise after listening to my conversation. Tell me, how long do you think it's going to last? Perhaps it's not going to last very long because 1 hour will disturb your routine in a big way. It may affect the time that you get up. It may affect what other things you are doing in that 1 hour. And it'll have a lot of disturbance in your existing regimen of the day. But let us look at it from another angle. Let us say that I encourage you, okay, not 1 hour, start with 10 to 15 minutes of exercise. And I'm also saying don't start with anything rigorous. Start with something that is easy to put into practice. Little bit of bending, stretching, and warm up exercises. Now tell me, what is the probability of this to sustain? Obviously, it's going to be much higher. So that is why I encourage that start with tiny habits, and that's then start following through, become consistent in that, make it a part of your everyday life, because as they say, it takes about 21 to 90 days for one habit to form. 21 days for it to become a part of your day-to-day understanding of life, and it takes about 90 days to become a part of your life. It may take a little longer depending on what kind of habit it is. I'm not going into that number understanding of numbers in terms of days, but I'm saying it takes time. So start becoming consistent by following a system of monitoring. And that is when you will notice that good habits are, useful habits are not as difficult to form as perhaps they are made out to be. And then you have to stick to them. So, first thing I said, become self aware. Second thing I said, become consistent in whatever you identify as things to be done. And don't start with too many things at a time. Start with one thing, two things at a time. And that's when you will be able to add on to these over a period of time. And here, perhaps some of you may be getting a message that I'm talking about learning all the time, or giving attention to your professional growth all the time. No, I'm saying take care of every aspect of your life. Whether you're giving time to your family or not, that also needs to be part of your habits, right? So I'm interested in you taking care of every aspect of your life, because I personally believe very strongly. In fact, the message that I'm posting on my social media these days, this week, is all about balance in life. So you need to have sufficient number of habits in every aspect of your life, so that you evolve as a holistic human being, not as a lopsided, a person who is taking care of only himself or only his or her family, or only focused on the work. I want you to take care of every aspect of your life and then contribute a lot to the society, because that's when you'll start having conviction about what works in life. And that is when you'll be able to influence the world around you so much that you'll be able to add lot of value to the world around you, and that's very, very fulfilling experience. So let's look at some of the comments, and what is it that people are asking here. uh, so Kapil is saying here that when we say to ourselves that chahiye hi chahiye, then we will be an action taker than procrastinating. So I do agree with what you are saying, Kapil. Just a little perspective that I'm adding is chahiye hi chahiye. Go to the why part of it. Why chahiye hi chahiye? Why do you need it? Why do you need it? Make that need so strong and so fulfilling that your actions are totally directed towards making it possible. And one of my coaches used to say that you need to start saying to yourself, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes means you will continue to do things which are going to make a huge difference to your life for all times to come, till you accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, and then raise your bar about what you want to accomplish. So that's perhaps all in terms of comments that I've received today. Is there any other question anyone wants to ask? I'll wait for you for a couple of seconds, and otherwise, we'll bring this first live session on multiple platforms. It's right now going on Facebook, my page on Facebook, going on LinkedIn, and going on YouTube simultaneously. And obviously, it'll be available on all these platforms after this. Now, what I want all of us who are here, those who are specifically not connected to me in terms of my work, what I encourage you to do is check out our ATC sessions, Action Takers Club sessions in the morning. 5 days a week, we meet every morning from 6 to 7 a.m. and we do a variety of things which are habit forming. So I'll just give you an example as to what we do in that 1 hour. It is distributed in different types of activities, and those activities are not consuming entire hour. Obviously, those activities consume part of that 1 hour. For example, we do exercise for about 20 minutes. Now, it's easy for anyone who is a beginner also to do exercise for 20 minutes. So that is why it is habit forming, right? So similarly, we do things for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and all these activities are helping us to form those habits which are going to give the right shape and direction to our lives. So ATC is phenomenal. I am feeling very fulfilled in those ATC experiences, and it had been a long-standing desire that I had, that I get up at 5 a.m. and ATC has made it possible. Now, how did it become possible? It became possible because I set a higher goal for myself, that I want to contribute to the world around me. And for that, if I have to get up at 5 a.m. every single day, 5 days a week specifically, so I'm able to do that. Now alarm rings and I'm up just after the first ring of the alarm. And many times it has started happening that even before the alarm rings, my eyes are kind of open, I'm awake. So any question from anyone? Any question from anyone? So I'm just checking something here as to, yes. And yeah, this is something new that I'm learning. So uh, over a period of time, perhaps I'll learn some of the aspects of this. So any question from anyone? What I had not done for 30 years, I am continuously doing for the last 3 months. Thank you. Arun is saying this. Now, Arun is saying that he had not done something for the last 13 years. He's very, very consistent member of our ATC. So if you all want to know where can you check about ATC, I'm typing out the link here. So you can check it out here. So check out this link and you'll be able to find how to become part of our ATC sessions and make use of that. I really want to make a huge difference. I always say, what is my mission? My mission is to influence 100,000 working professionals to live up to their potential and lead highly fulfilling and purpose-oriented lives. That's the mission with which I'm working in my life, and will continue to do that till my energy allows me to do that. Right? So, one last time and ask for any question anyone has. And we'll start doing these sessions regularly, and obviously as we do it regularly, there'll be more number of people joining us. The message will start spreading sooner than later, and I'll be looking forward to meet you again. Thank you everyone for joining us, and look forward to the next session. We'll announce it in advance. Today is Thursday, so maybe every Thursday we'll start doing it. Let me just work it out. Today we had announced because we wanted to make a beginning using this platform so that we can reach out to larger number of audience from different platforms. So bye bye for now, and look forward to meet you again. Bye bye.